Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. Good morning. This is the new year, and my New Year's resolution is all about doing everything I can to add more joy in my life. So my New Year's resolution is to increase my awareness of those choices I make in perspective and behavior and change that so that I have more joy in my life. And one of those things is also doing things that take less stress or take stress more out of my life. So why I decided to get up here and give a speech, I have no idea, because that certainly causes a lot of stress. How many of you have given speeches and then saw them recorded? Have you ever seen yourself recorded, either audio recording or video recording of you giving a speech or doing anything? Yeah. How is it? Isn't it fun? No. No. It's painful. It's torture. You're thinking to yourself, do I sound like that? I didn't know I did that with my body. We don't realize what we look like to other people, how we sound to other people. We think we sound great sometimes. Or sometimes we think, oh my gosh, that was just awful. But to have to watch yourself and just see how awful you were, that is not fun. And yet, my goal in life is to continually to build my skills, my awareness, and my talents to the best of my ability. And the only way to do that is I have to be aware of anything that could detract from me being the best I could be. Michelangelo, when he created the statue of David, one of the most, as people would say, the most perfect examples of the human body. And they said, how did you do that out of stone? I mean, it's amazing. What do you do? How do you make that happen? And he said, actually, it's very easy. All I do is chip away at anything that is not that beautiful body, and there you have it. I just uncovered it. Yeah, like it's that easy. You know it's not that easy. But for us, if we're going to chip away at the things that get in the way of us being the best we can be, we have to take a true and honest look at how we sound, how we are, how we present ourselves. And that can only be through other people's eyes, but now we have technology that can help us. And with technology, we can record our voices. We can record our visuals as well and listen to those. And so one thing I propose to you guys as a Toastmasters club, and there's many clubs that are doing this, is videotaping or video recording, because we don't tape anymore, but recording ourselves and then using that to grow as we watch that speech. And yes, it will be painful to watch. And yet, if you can look at it honestly and take notes, you can better understand, oh, that's what the evaluator meant when they said this. Or that's why people looked at me in a strange way when I said something that was funny and they looked at me like I had just shot a deer. What? That's not funny. You know, it's like, so what is effective? Well, for us, we have to look at that. So I'm going to propose for our club that for every speech, and perhaps for other roles as well, we actually record it. And there's a lot of people who will recommend that. As a matter of fact, I love listening to other top speakers in the world to find out what are their secrets. And when I listened to Ramona J. Smith, the recent champion in 2018 from Houston, she spoke in San Antonio at the TLI, and she shared some of her hints and tips for being the best. And one of the things she said she does is she will record herself and then watch it with another person, because the other person will have a different perspective than she has on it. But when you take both those perspectives and put them together, suddenly you see 20/20. You see in 360 degrees. So it's a way to learn and be open, but it is not easy. And so that's why bringing another person, like a mentor, to work with you to view this and take notes and make changes is powerful. It exponentially takes our skills up so that we're able to speak more with aplomb, that confidence, that strength, that ability to come across. And because when you speak with aplomb, it makes people willing to listen and follow where you're going. Even if they don't totally understand where you're going, they want to follow you because they know you seem to know where you're going. So to become more effective at that, I think we should be videotaping our speeches. Now, there are benefits to it, of course. We've talked about the benefits, but there are also drawbacks. We are not Austin Toastmasters, which has 50 to 60 people in a given meeting. It's easy to throw a role and say, okay, you'll be videographer and such. How do we add another role when even in this meeting, we were challenged by, we don't have enough people to play the roles? So finding someone who could actually do that, now I just put my camera on the table and push the button. Ideally, it would be great to have someone who could maybe follow along as well, but it's something that's fairly simple, so it's not a role that would require a lot. You might even add to somebody who is vote counter, let's say, or some other smaller role where they could just push that button once to start it, push that button once to stop it. Austin Toastmasters and some of the other larger groups all do this on a regular basis, and they have a role of someone who's always in charge of not only video recording these speeches, but they also then transfer that speech. Either they'll put it on a disk drive or a little thumb drive. They also call them USB drives, and they'll take those with them and say, hey, I'll put your speech from this onto this drive. So that's one way to do it. You can put it down on your computer, or you can transfer it directly to YouTube. Now, there are some fears about, will other people see this? You can set this up so that other people don't get to see it, especially on YouTube, because you can set it up for a private video. And a private video still has a link you can send to someone, but the only people who ever see it are the people who receive that link. No one can search for you and find it. But you could put your speech as a public speech and do it on there where anyone can search for the topic or whatever different ways in which you write down there how you're going to identify it, and then they could search for it and find it. So there's different options for doing this, but the key is I want us as Toastmasters to take our skills to a whole new level in a faster way. And as painful as this is the fastest way to learn how you are up here, whether or not you're just moving without purpose, whether or not you're speaking or using your arm, saying, this is the number one thing we should be doing. One thing we should be doing. So sometimes we have to look at how we look to other people, because that's what's going to change our ability to be even more effective. So I propose to our club that our officers consider doing this on a regular basis and coming up with a way this will work for everyone, and so that we can have our mentors or someone offer this to work with others to watch your video and go through this and master these skills at an even faster rate.